Well, I mean, on a weekly basis, we're really working with the same question with clients across the globe. Like, typically the CMO, their team, partner agencies, everybody at the table, and really regardless of location, of the industry type that we're dealing with, like everyone's kind of trying to answer the same things. What patterns and channels are we getting the most conversions from? Where's the attribution coming from? What tools of the communications are resonating to retain the existing customer base? And then what kind of core data is needed for the sales and the frontline workers that deal with the customers directly, to use that to kind of help nurture the relationship, to upsell it, etc. Right? So getting the data, really, the raw data is kind of the easy part. Cleaning it, as so many of the people that have contributed in this session, becomes the more challenging piece. And then where it gets a little bit even more complicated is you're starting to get system after system, and then you're getting more stakeholders come to those meetings, and everybody has their kind of set of agenda of what's important and what data KPIs are needed, etc. So keeping everyone focused becomes the bigger challenge of what is the problem we're trying to solve. Your keynote speaker actually just said something that was very good in terms of set those business use cases very much upfront, rather than trying to kind of then start doing all the architecture of where we're getting the data and all that kind of stuff. So once we know this is the problem we're trying to solve, everybody's aligned on it. That typically, is 80% of the problem, gone behind us, and then it becomes a very tactical, mechanical piece of getting it. So, really, we're working right now with Formula One on one of their upcoming races, and we have a media agency, a PR agency, a social media agency, the internal stakeholders, the ad agency, and everybody's throwing, lots and lots of reports and data and, performance, and weekly. We sit in on, 2-hour calls every week, and it's like, okay, we're reviewing tables, and then what, and
Yeah.
And that really, where we kind of try to come in and say, okay, let's play a little bit of to steer the ship in a little bit. So we try to get everybody back focused. We have a common objective across everybody there. We need to sell seats for an event, and there's a finite amount of seats. If we sell them, we succeeded. But with this, we kind of have to kind of look at there is a little bit of, it's never always as clear cut as that. So we always have, we have selling seats, but we also want to get the brand recognition, the intangible pieces of brand awareness. So, setting a strategy, for example, in this example, we worked with the media agency and the sales team and inside of the client to look at how do we align towards a purchasing cycle? Which channels are the ones that are creating those conversions? As we look into kind of the last month of sales, using historical data to help us predict the future, right? So maybe in the past we're seeing 50% of those tickets were actually sold in the last 2 weeks before an event. People wait till the last bit. So getting a little bit of that behaviors and patterns becomes more important and more, drives those kind of insights to help kind of achieve the goals you're setting. So that's, in a nutshell, how we've been using kind of data in some of the examples that we have. I have a few more, but I want to also hear from Carol. So I'll chime in as needed.
Thank you, Hazem. Carol, anything you'd like to add to that? You're on mute. You're on mute, Carol.
Sorry about that. I'm
okay.
a huge race car fan, Hazem, so maybe I can get some tickets. I'm just kidding.
We'll trade some data.
You have to go and buy for that race, but it's good.
Well, I can't say that compensation and job description management software is exciting as in the race cars, but in our business, we have similar needs, and it's really, I 100% agree up front what you want to measure. And then when you're going through the process of looking at your data, if something is too complicated, you want a piece of data to make this piece of data A to make decision A. If it's going to be too time consuming to get that piece of data to make decision A, then you have to compromise. But do that up front and understand what you want to capture. We also look at our business of prospects, new business, and existing customers. And we make sure that we understand that customer journey from the first inception to closed won, as we call it, to future, the customer life cycle, what's beyond that. So we need to look at the channel, we need to look at the product mix, we need to look at pricing, we need to look at the packaging, and we also need to understand that same process for both new customers and prospects. So again, the key that we run into challenges is the different pieces of data along the system and putting them all together. And then we're dead set about getting a certain piece of data, but if takes too long, we keep going, and then we finally say, okay, we're giving up. So we just have to kind of balance the decision making with the kind of data we need to make really 100% accurate decisions. We kind of have to go, we're tangentially in the right direction, so we're good with that.